Okay, so in today's session, what I'm going to do, I will creating. Also, basically, we would be talking about the function calling part of OpenAI, and in this session, what I will do, I will try to automate the process of ordering something, uh, and then you can, and there should be also a feature of updating that particular order. So basically, I will create a piece of program that will get prompt from user in English language, and then it will try to understand which function needs to be called, and then it will actually call that particular function. Okay, so I will first import requests. And here we have all these. So this is something that I need to copy to get access to the AI proxy token. And let me change it to AI proxy, and let's store it in the same name. And now I will just get the headers of the request. So for any request, we'll need headers. And we also need URL to make a request. So I will copy that URL here. And we have headers, we have URL. And now what we need, we actually need a JSON body. Okay. So so what we are trying to do, actually we are trying to order something from a online purchasing website or somewhere. So let us say I provide a prompt, and in that prompt I have a prompt something like this: I want to place an order for the following items. And let us say I want one laptop, two smartphones, and then one tablet, and let us say along with what I want, I also need to pass the information about where it needs to be delivered and the date when it needs to be delivered. So I will say, please confirm the total price and proceed with the order. And now I will put the information about delivery address and those things. The delivery address is 123. Okay. Okay. Can anyone just tell me a famous delivery address or something that we can use over here?
WTC.
Huh? Can you repeat?
No, I'm telling you, like WTC. You can write WTC.
World Trade
Okay.
Center. Yeah.
Sure. And World Trade Center. And we also need to provide the date. So I need the order to be delivered by. Okay, tell me the a date when you want to receive the order.
Today,
Today,
tomorrow,
31st. Okay, today or tomorrow?
any day.
First Feb 2025. So this is one such prompt that user, or rather we will call it customer, might feed us. So these are the items that he need, and then where it needs to be delivered, and this also have information about on which date. So now what we want to exactly from this particular prompt, we want to identify uh, identify all these information in a structured format, so that we can put them in database, or we can do something with them. So for that, what I will do, I will actually make a function call, or that is just a way to get a structured output from a chat GPT. So I will name it a function. Let's call order underscore function, and the way to define this function is we need to provide the type, and the type would be just function, and then we will actually define the function definition that will have a few details. So for example, name of the function would be let's just call order function, that needs to be executed to order something, and description, which have the details about what this function is expected to do. So what we want this function to do, actually we want to extract all these information, such as how many items somebody needs for each of the individual item, and then where it needs to be delivered, and then on what date. So I will just say extract the order details from customer prompt.
So is order function dependent on the above written cell? Like like is there a relationship between those two?
On this particular cell.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Like
Okay.
where
Hmm. Okay, before moving forward, function calling open AI. Okay. So actually, see, we can send a request to OpenAI in this particular format. So we will make a request. So the name of the function is here get weather. So this is to get the temperature for a given location. So what will happen from y- so when we are making a request to OpenAI, will just tell what is the weather like in Paris today. So we would need the information about uh, the weather of Paris. Okay. So basically, we are using this particular function, and the name of this function is get weather. And let us say this is a function that is defined in our Python program, and then we want to execute this function, but we don't know that this is the exact function that we need to execute, because we are just getting a prompt from user. So we send this request to OpenAI, and then it will generate a response that have this format. It will get us the name of the function that needs to be executed, and then these are the properties. So location is one property, and then location needs to be of type string, and then it's mm, just city and country code. So like what it is, we have a function, let us say it is get.
So was that clear, Anand? Did you understand the
No,
workflow?
like a, a, a more detailed explanation will be good. Like I didn't get like for example, someone is asking what's the weather. So and the above one was for getting the information. Those are the parameters which are there. So when we are typing this, the output is like what is the output and like what is the relation. And the second thing is that these input parameters will be will remain constant.
So, okay, if you just give me a second, maybe I'll just give me 1 second here.
Sir, why do you worry so much, sir? It's 6 degrees here, sir, Paris.
It's 14 degrees. Okay.
No, sir, 6 degrees, sir. I confirm. I'm in Paris now.
Okay.
Okay, so am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, clearly.
So effectively what happens, okay, when, so the user, so say for example, you're using this application, okay, and you're ordering something from Jivraj Inc., okay. So you go to the Jivraj Inc. website and there's a new feature on there, an AI assistant who will just take voice commands, okay. And you don't even have to browse or do anything. You just tell it your order in plain English or Hindi or Malayalam or any other language, right? And so you give it the order which Jivraj was talking about. But we'll go back to that order scenario in just a bit because that's a little more complicated. But we'll go back to that. We'll first look at this weather question that he's talking about, right? So you ask, what's the weather in Paris, right? What is the weather in Paris? So this is your prompt. This is your prompt, and it doesn't matter how you give it to it. Okay. And then your application. So we'll take this prompt, and it will send it to OpenAI. Okay. But OpenAI doesn't know what to do with this. You want to this question to be solved by your application. Okay. So the only way you can solve this question is by extracting what function to run in your program and what parameters to give to your function. So in your program, in your Python program that's running in the background or any other script that is running in the background, you'll have a function called get weather info or something like that. Okay? And it takes a parameter, the location. And the problem is, how do you get from a sentence the parameter that you need to run this function? And your application could have many other functions other than get weather, right? So it could have another function called best hotels in Paris or something. Okay, or best hotels, let's just say. And it also takes a location. And like this, there could be many functions within your program. But how does your program, Python program, understand this prompt? It cannot, right? So we need OpenAI to tell us or tell your program what function to run. Okay. And so what we do is we use this feature of OpenAI called function calling, which is a very, very powerful feature. Okay. And what it does is this function calling, you have to give it a set of tools. We call it tools because that's what they call it. Okay. So we didn't come up with this schema. It's the schema that they have come up with. Actually, I'll write it over here somewhere. So we call it tools. And then inside tools are basically a set of predefined functions. And what that does is, and these predefined functions will have some descriptions so that OpenAI knows. So for example, when it gets this question, what is the weather in Paris? It understands, what's the word I'm looking for? It understands context, right? It understands semantics. It understands meaning. But you want structured data out of it. What is the structured data? You want the function name and the argument. right? So that's what this tool set does. This tool set says, I have some predefined functions. These predefined functions, and you give it its descriptions. These predefined functions also have some names, right? And these names are, for example, your get weather info, and best hotels. So there will be various predefined functions, and you give it the names and the descriptions of what these functions do and what their argument requirements are. And there could be more. There could be scenic spots, something like that. What the arguments are for that. So what happens now is OpenAI will take the prompt, will look at these set of functions that are there, these functions that are there, and see which prompt should run what function. So if the customer is asking about weather information, it will know contextually that it should run this function, okay, this particular function. So if that's the case, what OpenAI then will do is when you send a request to OpenAI, which is the prompt, it will give back, and this is what function calling does, it will give us back in a JSON, first of all, the function name, and it will be a precise function name because we have told it what the function name is. So in this case, get weather info. And it will also tell us what the parameters are. But this also will be in a JSON format, okay? And it will depend completely on the definition of it that you have given over here, okay? Whatever you have defined here, that is precisely what OpenAI will try to do here as a response. It won't respond to the customer. What it will do is it will respond to your actual application itself. Your application takes the prompt, sends it to OpenAI. OpenAI responds back and tells you, run this function, and these are the parameters I've extracted from the user prompt, okay? And then once you get those two things, then it's trivial, right? Then your application just basically runs this function with the required parameters. And once it runs that function, it will produce an output. That output you will send back to your user. So that's what we're doing. We're leveraging OpenAI as a proxy for a human. So instead of an agent sitting there taking phone calls, or an agent sitting in an office somewhere, and people walk into the office and ask these questions, your customer is coming to your website asking in plain native language, any language it could be. But in order for your program to execute the task, which cannot understand English, OpenAI will then parse that information and tell, run get weather info, run hotel scenes, best hotels, run scenic locations. And then it will say, use these parameters. Where did they get the parameters from? From the prompt that the user gave. So that is what function calling is. And that's what we are demonstrating. And it's a very, very powerful feature. And it makes your programs intelligent because now it can take inputs you don't even have to make a complicated UI, correct? I mean, think about it. If you had to design this before, you would design a nice website, there would be all these elements in it. Now you wouldn't even have to do that. You don't even have to look at the screen. You could just speak to your computer and it will run these functions and it will produce an output. Because the non-intelligent part of it, which is just gathering the information through a locator or a weather service application or through any other means, that's all sitting on a database somewhere, right? Those can be extracted and done, no problems. But it's this interface that makes it so unique, right? Effortless, where you don't have to even look at the system and it will get you the information. So that's what this concept is. Does that make it a little bit clear for you what we are trying to achieve?
Sir, so for example, in this weather, what are the parameters like we are going to give example?
The parameter will only be the place, right? That's all you need, right?
Yes.
And you need the function name, most importantly. But your customer doesn't know the function name, right? He's not going to say get weather info or get scenic hotel. He won't say those things, right?
Yes.
And he may not even use English, right? He may use any language that he's comfortable with. So how do you account for all that variability?
So basically, function name is like a prompt which OpenAI will take. It will fetch the data. Then it will produce output, which it will show to the user, right?
Yeah, no, OpenAI won't send the prompt, won't send the response to the user. Your application will.
Yeah, you know,
What?
it will send a response to application, and application will show the output to the user.
Correct. Your application will needs structured information. Your application cannot deal with unstructured information, right?
Yes, sir.
So how do we get structured information? Someone has to translate that English into structured information. What does the application need? Which function to run? What are the parameters, correct? Any application that you run.
So,
See, every program that you ever written, that's what it does, right? You're running a function and it requires some parameters, right?
yes, sir.
So how do you get that to happen by just speaking to it? That's where the magic of OpenAI comes. You send the prompt to OpenAI, tell OpenAI, hey, these are the functions I can actually run. Tell me which function to run and what are the parameters for it.
And so, like, if the data that OpenAI gives, how will we convert that unstructured data into structured data? Like,
Because that's okay. So that's what function calling does. Function calling allows OpenAI to respond back to your application in JSON itself. But you can pass JSON, right?
yes, sir.
If you tell OpenAI, I want function name as one of, and this is what Jivraj is going to demonstrate now, right? I want function name as one of the parameters that are coming back, and I also want the parameters as well, right? I want these back in the JSON response.
Okay, so we have to define that in the function.
Yes. So you define that for OpenAI and tell if the customer asks for these things, these are the functions that are available to me. You tell me what function to run. And so it will send your application back a JSON response. And your application will look at that JSON response and it will know, okay, I have to run this function with this parameter. So that's what the workflow here is.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay. So yeah, carry on.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, that means that contextual interpretation is done by OpenAI.
Correct.
With reference to the function calling, is it?
Yeah. So this is the customer sends a request to your application. Okay. This is just a string. It's just garbage to you at the moment. You send that to OpenAI. And OpenAI has a list that you have given it. Okay. A set of functions, we'll call it. And we tell it what the names of these functions are and what the parameters it has. It looks at this prompt that was sent over. Okay. It looks at this prompt. And then looking at this prompt, it decides what function that is appropriate to run to solve this prompt's answer. Okay. And then you instruct OpenAI that you want the response back to you exactly as a JSON. That has what? Two things. Function name. Oops. Just excuse my bad handwriting. Function name and parameters. That's all you want. Once you get that, you will run that function. And then that is what will respond to the customer. Now there is another option in this loop. Instead of you directly responding to the customer, you can also send this back to OpenAI to give it what you call for it an answer in semantic language. So let's say, for example, the prompt was spoken to your application. Now you don't have some fancy text to voice application, but OpenAI does a fantastic job of that. So what you do is you tell OpenAI, this is the weather in Paris and this is the temperature. Send a response back to the customer. So OpenAI can directly send that response back to the customer. So both ways it can work. But we'll not talk about the complicated bit at the moment. Let's first understand the earlier part that I was talking about, this bit.
Okay,
right?
so
This is
one thing, Carlton.
Yeah.
So on the second tab which you have made, not tab, this box you have made.
Yeah.
After JSON, OpenAI, where you have written.
Yeah.
Where you written the prompt. So you are telling that out of all the prompts which we have given, the answers will be given according to them only.
I didn't quite understand the question. What's the question?
For example, you are like we are basing our structure on whether an end user is asking what's the temperature in like Paris or
Yeah.
any place,
Yes.
and we have defined our function there as place or scenic beauty, anything which is related to Paris.
It could be not just Paris. It could be any place, right? Because it's fetching information from a database.
Give me a second. And based on that, if like, yeah, like I'm just thinking with like there is a set of value a set of values which we can, the functions which we can define, like,
Correct.
okay, so it's a limited kind of thing.
Of course, your application
Okay,
only does certain things, right? It's
okay,
only
okay,
going
got
to
it, got it. No.
it's only going to serve. If it's a restaurant, it's only going to serve
Mhm,
dishes, right?
mhm,
If
mhm,
it's a travel agent, it's only going to give you flights.
mhm. Okay,
If
okay,
it's a, it depends on what your business is, right?
okay, got it, got it.
So, but what you're doing is you're making your business intelligent now. You don't have to design a fancy, complicated, hard to maintain front end, right? It can be something as natural as speaking to a person or speaking to a friend, right? You speak to someone and say, hey, do you know any good places in Paris, right? So this application could be a proxy for that, right? It could be, it receives the response, it has some functions, it has a database to tap into, it can do all that stuff. But the way to interact with it is you send the natural language to OpenAI, ask OpenAI, hey, what function should I run? And then you run those functions, and that produces some output for you. And then how you give the output back to the customer is up to you. You can give the output via OpenAI. So it is back in natural language, or you may produce some other thing that the customer requires. And incidentally, not surprisingly, this is a large part of what Project also does. Project has the same concept of function calling built into it, which is you use natural language or some semantic way of just sending information that is natural. And then you have to know what function to run by just receiving that sort of natural input that people will give it. Okay. Was that clear?
So
Hello,
we
am I audible?
basically so we basically have like we define tools or functions which our program has to run, and
Yeah.
users are probably going to need, but they are not going to know the functions. They are just going to say whatever they want to know,
Yes.
and then OpenAI will send that to OpenAI. OpenAI will figure out which functions to run, and then tell our code that this is the answer you have to give. So it will kind of incorporate the response of those functions in the response to the user. No?
You got it. That's 100% what this is. Okay. I think Jivraj, you can carry on.
Okay. So before moving to OpenAI function calling, what I would do, I would actually, I think, create a function, Python function that is required to place a order, and the part of which I would create a, let us say, items. These are the items that needs to be ordered, and let us say it have a key item underscore name, and that must be the name of the item, that is laptop. And then we have another item, okay, not item, okay, quantity. So right now what I'm trying to do, I'm just translating all this information into a, so instead of passing it as in uh, plain text English query, I will first create a Python function, and then we'll try to bring the LLM part into it. Okay. So this is one object. Actually, it needs to be a list. Hmm.
Yuvraj, you're missing a colon on the item name.
Missing a colon on the item name.
Yeah, just after item name.
Item name, I'm missing. Oh, okay. Thanks. And now we have another item. And the second item is smartphones. And then quantity must be 2. And let us say for now we just have these 2 items. And along with items, what else we need? We also need the delivery address. So let us.
Small question. After one there is a comma, but after two it is there is no comma. So is this like something which we need to remember?
Actually, what I have defined, I have just defined a list,
No, no, no,
and
no. After one there is a comma, but after two there is no comma.
over
Actually, you
here.
can just truncate that comma as well.
It's like Jason, right? So you can have the comma at the end or not. It is
Yeah,
Jason only.
it's like a dictionary, so you can have the comma at the end or not. That's up to you.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are the parameters that are important for placing an order, right? And now it's in a structured format. Earlier, it was not in a structured format. So now, if you want to place an order, let us say we have a database. Now, let me just define a database. Order underscore df, and what I will do, I will use pandas to store things. So pd dot data frame, and then I will define which all columns I need. So I will need items to store the items that were requested, and then I will also need delivery address to be stored in database, and then I also need delivery date. And along with that, actually I want to track my order, right? So let us say in future, if I want to update some details regarding order, then this is the order ID that I can search for. And other than this, is there something else that I need? And maybe customer ID. And let us say also we will keep track of the total price of that particular order. So we have 6 things that we are storing in our database. And now let's just create this database. Actually, I'm just calling this data frame as in database. And now I will define a function. What that does, that will put all this information into this particular data frame. Right now we don't have customer ID and we also don't have order ID. So customer ID, I will make it as default 1, and order ID we will generate it randomly using some library. Okay. So I will name this function as order, and order takes 3 variables, items, then delivery address, and then delivery date. Instead of delivery date, we can make it delivery time. In case if someone actually defines a time, let us say 5 p.m. or something. Okay. So these are the 3 attributes that needs to go inside here. So I will just change it to delivery time. And now what I want to do, okay, so I want to store items which can be stored as it is in the same way it comes to us, and then delivery address, it can be stored by this particular parameter, and delivery time also it can be stored by itself. So the extra thing that we need to pass is we also need to pass the customer ID just to keep track of ordered. And I will just make it default as 1. And so these 3 informations are already available to us. So I will need to get this information, that is order ID. So for that I will just use a random generator. So I will use UUID and then this stuff over here. So what this will do, this will just generate some random order ID. Let's just check it once. So it have generated this random string. Now if I rerun it, it will generate some other string, and then if I rerun it, it will generate some other string. So every time I will run, it will generate a random 8-digit string, and that we will keep it as order ID. And this total price is something that we need to calculate. For that, what I will do, I will loop over all the items, and then what I will do, I will actually for that I also need to have price. So I will have to store price somewhere, and let us say this is the list that stores price. So we'll need price for laptop, and let us say it's 1000, and then we also need price for a smartphone, and that have let's say 800 or something. So item of price into, okay, actually this is something. Okay, so the way to get the name of the item is I use item of item underscore name, and now I need to get a price of that item. So price is equal to prices of and then name of the item. Okay, and then I also need quantity, so that will be just this thing, and then total price would be
Shivraj, did you import UUID or is it like inbuilt?
yeah, I have imported, but I haven't downloaded it. So I didn't run pip install, but I have imported it.
Okay, it's available natively.
One question.
Yeah.
There in the price equal to price name.
Yeah.
Uh, Quantity. Okay, so quantity is fixed. So, but since it's a list, and so how do we define what is the this is we are taking how we are uh, taking out this particular the name of that thing from.
Okay, basically what we are doing, this is a list, so it can be iterated, right? And these are the individual elements. So let me just pull this code out, and we'll just print what is item. Okay. So
Okay, got it. No, I forgot to see that for loop over there.
oh, okay,
And then
okay.
from there, like I was thinking, like without calling the name of that dictionary, how are you taking out the without like along with the key? How are you getting the values? I forgot to see that. Anyways, yeah,
Okay, okay.
yeah. So item will be reiterated as the dictionary name, and then we are getting the first value from that key item name.
Sir, in the name, in line which where name is written, name equals to item. There is written item, but it should be items because the list name was items.
No, actually, what we are doing, we are looping over this particular list, and then every single item we are naming it as an item. That's why we will be able to
Okay,
use
sir.
it as item.
Okay, sir, I got it.
So
Sorry,
this
sir.
item can actually be replaced with an I as well. So in Python, we are used to use for I in a particular list. So you can replace this with anything else as well, not just an item.
Yeah.
Jivraj, just make your screen a little bit bigger because sometimes the detail gets lost a bit here.
Okay. Is it big enough? Should I make it more bigger?
One or two fonts, that like one or two fonts if it is possible.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now.
yeah, yeah. No, yeah.
Okay. So now this way we have calculated the total price. So we already had items, delivery address, delivery time. These things we already had. Customer order ID we generated. Customer ID we are setting it to 1. And oh, sorry. And then total price now we have calculated. So now we are ready to actually insert it into the database, that is this Python uh, data frame actually. So instead of appending it to a Python data frame, I can actually, what I can do, I can even create a dictionary, I think. So this is, and now should we create a dictionary? Okay, let's keep Python.
Yeah, I think the data frame is better because it's easier to then just see the information in a tabular format.
Yeah, actually it is easier to see, and then we can even figure out order ID and those things when we want to do search. Okay, so now what I have to do, yeah, now I have got everything. So I will create a new order, that is this. It will have all these names, all these things. So items will be items. And okay, let me just use autocomplete. So this is delivery address, then this is delivery time, and then order ID, customer ID, and then total price. Okay, this should work. And now what I want to do, I want to access the global variable. So actually this variable we have defined in the global space, but this function, whenever I will run, it will have its own space. So I think it won't be able to access this particular variable. For that I will have to tell application is specifically that I want to access this global variable. So that I can do using global and then order underscore df, and then order underscore df is equal to, what I want to do, I just want to put this particular object into it. So let's try if this works. I'm not sure. I have done it using concat function, and I think, is it append or underscore append? I think it would be underscore append. I'm not sure. Let me just try.
Appending to a data frame?
Yeah, appending to a data frame. I
Could
think
work.
I'm not.
Yeah, I've done. You're appending two data frames or something? What are you doing?
No, actually, what I am doing, I'm appending this particular JSON object to the data frame.
Okay, I think append should work.
Okay, let's try this, and we can just run this particular function. And items I will pass items, and then this should be See, names are same, so I will just put. Okay,
I
let's
think
run.
dot append will work, Shivraj, most likely.
Okay, let me have a look at this. It, dot append. Okay, it didn't append, so let me try to use dot append then. No, it doesn't have a append attribute.
So append works only with numpy, sir. For data frame, it should be concatenate.
Yeah, concat would be the option. Yeah, concat. CONCAT. I think append was in the older version of Pandas data frame actually.
No, it's available in numpy.
But
NP
also I
dot
think,
append.
yeah, also I think it was like in the deprecated version of Pandas data frame. It used to be there.
There was, I think, underscore append or something was there earlier.
Yeah,
I have
but it has
used it.
been deprecated. Yeah, I think in the newer versions it has been deprecated.
Okay, let's try this. And let me recall this function. Okay, this doesn't work. And length of the value 2 does not match. Length of index.
I guess that we have to include some parameter which tells it that do we have to concatenate it vertically, through columns or by rows.
Okay, that is, I think, axis
Yeah,
is equal to
that should be
0.
access. No, not in this one. We should pass this argument to the concat function itself.
Okay,
This PT data frame, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. Over
over
here,
here,
we should
right?
pass the access. Yeah.
I think this would have worked. Okay, yes, thanks,
It's
Sharon.
working. Other than using concat, I guess there are two more functions for this: hstack and vstack. Am I right, Jivaraj? I guess these are the functions that you can actually concatenate with. Vstack stands for vertically stacking them through rows, and hstack is for, I guess, uh, concatenating them vertically.
Adding new columns, right?
Yeah, adding for new columns,
Yeah.
or it was vice versa. I don't quite remember that.
Hmm.
Yeah, so
Oh,
those are other two functions you can use.
okay. Now I'm surprised. Why did it add two different things to it? Which
Because
has.
it iterated through two items. No, it's item in items.
Two
Hmm.
items in one order ID, na?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, got it. Got it, got it. So now this we have achieved using this particular function, but let us say we don't have this structured information and user have prompted in this particular format, and this might be extracted from some speech or something. So user would actually had interacted in some language, human language, and then this is some information that is converted from that uh, speech. It is converted to these words. Okay, so now we don't have this particular information. In that case, what we will have to do, we'll actually have to use OpenAI's function calling that will tell us that, see, you need to run this particular function and you need to run this particular function with these parameters. So items should have these things. So it will just tell us these are the items that you need to use, and then you need to use this particular delivery address. So all these things it will extract from our prompt, and it will extract it in the structured format, this particular format, so that we can run this function. So that's what I will do now.
Sir, I have a doubt here.
Yes.
So basically, like here you told that that structured data OpenAI will accept as prompt, right?
No. OpenAI would so basically we can feed this unstructured data to OpenAI, and then it will give us this structured data in the response.
But in the code we are writing for specifically for this, right? Like items, the structured data set.
Yes. So that's what I want to automate it. So let us say instead of ordering one particular laptop, if there are two laptops, then we have to change it here. And actually, there is no way we can retrieve this information from this particular prompt, right? We cannot manually extract this thing from this particular item. I mean, we can actually, humans can read and then they can create these kind of objects, but then we might be, we want to automate it. We want LLM to extract all these informations, how many laptops you want to order and how many smartphones you want to order.
Okay, so basically this is the database from which it's gonna extract, and we'll type the prompt.
Yeah,
No, not, it doesn't extract it from a database. See, what happens is, normally, if you wanted to place an order, what do? You click somewhere and you add items to a cart and you do all these things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So imagine now that you have two choices, okay? There are two shops available, two web stores available. One web store, you have to do all this process, okay, where you have to click and add to cart and type in all these things and go through several pages, and ultimately, your order gets placed. Or the other option I tell you is just speak to the computer and it will place the order for you. Which one will you choose?
Second.
Second one, right? That's what we're showing you how to do. What will happen is your application will take the user information that is passed to it, and it will send this prompt, okay, to OpenAI. And then OpenAI will tell OpenAI, look, our application wants you to look at this prompt and tell me what function I should run and what are the parameters for the function. Now, typically, what would happen is one of two things you could do this in one of two ways before. Before, you had to have an interface developed to just do these very precise things, right? Whereas now you don't need the interface. Now OpenAI will just pass the information for you and feed it directly back to your program, and then your program will be able to execute the order.
No, sir, I got this. But for example, here in items, laptop quantity has been defined one. But if a user wants to order two laptops,
Yeah.
then what's gonna happen?
Yeah. So OpenAI will give us a JSON back, which, see, what items you see here, right? This is just
Yeah,
an example.
yeah.
So that you know what the structure of the JSON should look like.
Okay.
So what we are going to do is we're going to use this example and tell OpenAI, I want information back that looks just like this items.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we will tell it we want information back that looks like this exactly. So that's what this will do.
Okay, and so that code is specifically written for this items data, like JSON, right?
yeah, Abhi, right?
Yeah,
Actually, what I want LLM to do, right now, I am just writing these things manually, right?
yeah,
But let us say these things are not here. This is
yeah,
just to just a format in which LLM should return the output back to us.
yeah.
So I will just feed this prompt to LLM, and then what it will do, it will give me this list of items that have this dictionaries and all this. It will fetch. It will get us in this nice format so that we can execute this function to place order.
Okay, okay.
So that's what we are going to do now. So for that, I will have to define, I will have to tell LLM that uh, we have a function and the job of that function is to place some order. So for that purpose, we'll need to extract these important information like how many laptops someone have ordered and then the location where it needs to be delivered. So all those things I will now define it in a JSON schema. So JSON is, let me start with that. So let me use order underscore function is equal to, so this would be a JSON schema and its type would be, since this is a function, so we'll need to provide it as a function. And now I will give the definition of this particular function. So name of this function is order, and then in description, okay, place an order. Customer would place an order in as a prompt, and we you need to extract JSON schema from that. And now, okay, so here I have told that this is the name of the function. This is exactly this particular name of the function, right? So for executing this particular function, what are the different things that we can extract from here? That's what we will be mentioning right now. So it will be object, and then this is a structured way of doing it. Properties, and I think this must be like this. And this properties, so one of the properties is items, right? And what is items? Items is an array because it have multiple items. So this is first item and then this is second item. So I will define the definition of this particular function over here in JSON schema format. Okay, so I will tell this is one particular parameter.
Jivraj, can you do a split screen so that the functions are sort of side by side, so it's easier to follow rather than hopping up and down?
Okay. Okay, I think I can just copy this particular line over here, right? Because that is the important. Um,
Yeah, that'll work.
yeah. Okay. And now earlier we were sending this items as an array. So here I will define this particular items, and the type of this particular item is array. And then we need to provide the description. List of items to be ordered. Yeah, that is perfect description. And this is items. So now what this particular thing defines, this is to define the property of these individuals, and that is part of OpenAI actually. Maybe we can use some other name for the items. So maybe I will call it ordered items just to avoid confusion. Because this items is an reserved thing that is there for OpenAI. So now I will define each of these items. So this is the ordered items, that is a list, and within this particular this is individual item that is there. So I will, this must have a type of object, and the parameters, so the properties that are there are, so we have two different things. that needs to be passed. So one is item name, and type for this would be string, and then this is name of the item, and then this is quantity, which is of type integer, and it is quantity of an item. Okay, that is correct. So here we have defined the ordered items is an array, and within that orders item, each individual element would have item name and then quantity. So I'm just providing the definition of this particular parameter that is required to execute this function. Okay, and this is ordered items. Where is it ending? I think here it is ending. And what here I will have to pass few more things.
This is where collapsible structures would have been good.
Okay. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. So actually, we want both these things, right, in the response back from OpenAI. So for each of them. So for that, I will have to provide what all things that are necessarily required. If these things are not present, then it would just throw an error. That I will just show after some time.
What you will show after some time, Julius?
Actually, if it doesn't get these things, let us say if this information was not there, right, then it should ideally throw an error. So right now, if I just pass here, and if I say required, what all things are required, and here if I mention quantity and item name, both are required. In that case, if it doesn't find any order, right, then it would throw error. Okay. So
Okay, so kind of error handling.
yeah.
Okay.
And then additional properties, we don't want anything else other than item name and quantity.
So the reason we put these required and additional properties false is because we don't want the OpenAI to hallucinate any information, because that would make it useless. We want the information that it's giving back to us strictly following this protocol, what has been specified.
Yeah.
So that's the reason we have to put these extra descriptors in the JSON, okay, so that it doesn't hallucinate. This instructs OpenAI, don't make up things, just give us exactly this.
Yeah. So this additional property, setting it to false, it won't generate anything else other than quantity and item name. So this is just to restrict. It won't generate any new keywords or something. Okay. And so this is the part where I have defined ordered items, right? This is definition for this particular ordered items parameter. And now we want to define other parameters that are a delivery address and then delivery time. So delivery address I have defined over here, which is of type string, and then address where the order needs to be delivered. Okay. And here we are defining the delivery time, that is also part of this particular function. And I will put description, time when the order needs to be delivered. And now we have defined all these parameters, right? We have defined ordered items, we have defined delivery address and delivery time as well. And now what we need to do, we just want these three things back from LLM. So we will tell what all things are required. Okay. Think that I will have to do it. Where is properties? This is where the properties is. So I think I will have to define it here. Required And what all are required? We want delivery address, and then we also want delivery time, and the other thing that we want is items. Okay, and then we'll again say that that should not be any extra property. So this defines our function. So name of the function is order, so that is the same name that is there, and then uh, we have got the description of the function. Okay, and then all these parameters are defined over here. So this items list I have already defined, and all these three parameters I have defined, and I am not asking it to get customer ID because that is something that we will already have. So right now I have just uh, kept it one, and then order ID is something that we will be generating, and total price is something that gets calculated from each of the item. So this is exactly what we need to define. Okay, so now I will just
Could you explain once again, like what have you done?
uh, sure. Actually, we had this function that order. So whenever we will run this function, we need it in the information in this particular format. So all these items should be an array, and then it must have so each single item must have item name and then quantity, right?
Yes.
And then these are two more parameters that needs to be passed through this function. So that is what we are defining here. So this is an JSON schema that is of type function. Can you please mute? Okay, thanks. So it's of type and the name of the function is order. So that is same name. So this is order. Okay, and then this description is what this function is supposed to do. So this function would actually place an order as in prompt, and so this is the prompt that we will send to OpenAI. And then this parameters, it defines all the parameters that are here. So it takes items as in parameter, and then delivery address as in parameter, and then delivery time as in parameter. So this parameters is an object, and then in that we have these properties. So I ordered items. So within this properties, we are defining all these three parameters. So ordered items is an array, and then this is description of that array. It stores the list of items that are ordered, and then individual item would have item name and then the quantity that is ordered, and then it should not so LLM should respond exactly these two things. It should not respond anything extra. That's why we have put required and then additional properties so that it don't generate anything extra. And then these are two more parameters that were there that we need to pass. So this is just the definition of the same function that is there. The same function, the name of the function, and then what this function is supposed to do, and the information about these individual parameters. Okay.
Yes.
This format is fixed, Jivraj. This format, like anything, we have to alter according to this format only.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
So for examples, right, if you go to OpenAI's documentation, you can see over there, they've given different examples of function calling. So you can see what they've done as examples. Also, even the tools in data science module 3, if you go through, there is an example there as well that you can use.
Yeah, you can just go to this particular web page, and there you can see some examples that are there. So I have just used this particular format that is there.
Another thing you can do as well, and Anand has demonstrated this sometimes when in discussions with us and on how to generate these things. He just asks OpenAI only to define the JSON. And if it throws an error, he feeds it back with the error and tells it to correct it. So you may not even have to write all this out. You can just explain to OpenAI, to GPT, what I meant. You just send it to GPT and say, look, this function, can you convert it into, the JSON structure for function calling, and it produces something that works. So that's also possible. You can automate this, semi-automate this creation of this JSON. But the reason why Jivraj explained it is so that it's not, so that you understand how to debug it. See, if GPT gives you something and then you don't know what's wrong with it, at least now you know how it is defined, right? You understand that you have to give the function a name, you have to give it some description. A function has to have parameters. These are the properties that it has. The properties are the various parameters that you want out of it. And when you define arrays and things of that sort, so at least you will be able to understand where you might be wrong. So that's why Jivraj has explained it. But the quick and easy way is to just ask GPT to generate it for you.
Okay. So now what I would do, I will actually send a request to OpenAI and I will just feed this information, and then I will also send this JSON schema, and then it should get in response it should have these three uh, parameters in this particular format. Okay, let's try that. So I will make a request to URL that we have already defined. Yeah, and headers also we have already defined. And now I will have to define JSON.
It's post, Jivraj.
Okay, sorry. And here I will give the information about which model that needs to be used. So GPT-4 or mini. And now here we'll send the messages. And this is a message that have a role of user. Okay, I don't know what is happening. So role must be user, and then content. So this is where that prompt would go. So this prompt I have stored it in variable q. So I will now pass this prompt, and now I will pass something tools, and in that tools I will have to actually pass this particular function, and instead of this function as in a dictionary, I will have to put it inside a array, otherwise it would just throw an error. And now I will set tool choice to auto. So actually if I don't set it to auto and if I just put order over here, that would also work because that is the name of the function, right? Okay, now let's try this out. Tuple items has no attribute items. Okay, tuple items has new attribute items. Let me check what is wrong with this particular JSON schema. Items have oh, okay, I got it. Actually this has to be ordered items. So now let's try it again. Okay, tuple object. Tuple object has no attribute. Oh, I think this is not even sending a request. It is before sending a request. I think there is something wrong with it. So that is headers is equal to headers. Then URL is URL. JSON have these things. Oh, okay. It ends here, and then these are not part of messages. These must be outside messages. And is there something else that I am doing wrong? I think I need to remove this. Okay, I think now it should work.
One more curly braces at the end. Actually, last one, last line.
Yeah, what is wrong in last line?
I think curly braces should not be there before the brackets.
This curly brace.
Yeah.
Okay, this should be there because of we are. This is a dictionary that we are passing as in data.
Okay, so tools and tool choices should be part of the whole dictionary JSON file that we will be passing to the API.
Okay, let's try this. Sure, what is wrong with it? Okay, I am not exactly sure what is wrong with it. I will just ask ChatGPT. Wrong over here. What is a tuple has no attribute item suggests that the headers variable you're passing to is a tuple, not a dictionary as expected. Is a tuple not a dictionary as expected? Okay, let me check what is headers. Hmm. Headers is defined as this thing. I don't know what exactly is problem. Oh, okay. Okay, now it have made a request. Okay. Actually, that extra comma was making it a tuple. Okay, now let's just print what is there in response. Response.json. Hope it have got okay. It have got some error. Invalid value order. Order can be none or auto or required. Okay. Okay, let's make it auto. There is a way to, I think if you make it required, and then there is a way to actually pass which function that needs to be executed. So for now, let's just. So this is the response that we got back from GPT, and within this response, if we look at this particular area, so here we have the name of the function that needs to be executed. So it have identified that order is the function that should be executed, and then these are the parameters that needs to be passed. So order items is of this particular format, and then our delivery address is in this particular format, and then the delivery time it have extracted as the date followed by time. So all I have passed is just this prompt in plain English, and it have extracted all these parameters by itself, and it have actually told us which function we need to execute. So the name of the function is there, and then these are the arguments that we need to use. So now let's just execute this function, because we now have all these parameters, right? So now I will try to reach this argument thing. So I think this must be choices, and within choices it must be tool calls. Let's go till there.
No, it's a array.
Okay. That is 0, and then I think tool calls. Okay, that is also wrong. Okay, let's go back. And is it tool calls? Let me use yeah, this is the one that I will have to use. And then within this, I will have to use this. And now I will have to use 0. And now if I just want I need function, and this have the name of the function and then the arguments. So now let me just get the name of the function. Okay, this have got the name of the function that needs to be executed. So I will just put it inside if so if name of the function is equal to order, then what you do, you just execute this particular function, and the parameters that we need to use will
Jivraj, just store that in a variable name for now, no? Because we'll anyway create a new function, so it will have a choice of functions.
yeah, sure. Okay, let me store it in the variable. So let's call it function to be called. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry. And now we also need the arguments that needs to be passed to the function. So I will just go back over here, and I think I will change it to arguments that will have arguments. And from this arguments, I need these three individual things, right? Delivery address, delivery time, and delivery order items. So let me just try to get order items, or DRED_ITEMS. Okay, must be an integer, not a string. Okay, what is the problem with it? Okay, I think it's a string, so I will have to convert it to JSON. So I will have to import JSON, and then I will have to JSON dot loads. Oh, I haven't run this. Okay, and now let me call it arguments. And from this, I will get arguments of ordered items. Okay, this is wrong again. So this will have this same stuff that is there. Actually, it have this tablet as well, because in the prompt we had tablet as well. Okay, and so let me store it in order list items. Let's call it. And then, okay, these are the other stuff that I need to store. So now it have got the output in the same format. Now we can execute the function. So now let me write function to be called is equal to order, Then what we do, we actually call this function, and for calling this function we need customer ID, so it should be 1, and this items should be ordered items, and then this delivery address should be delivery address, and then delivery time would be delivery time, and customer ID would be customer ID, which is here, and I can remove this. Okay, let's execute this function. I think this should append a new row to the database. Let's first have a look at the current state of database. So it have these two orders. Now if I run this function, it should get more orders. Oh, what happened? Key error. Okay, I got it. That is because this tablet is not in our database. So I think we'll have to put it in the database, this prices database. Tablet, and tablet can be of 599 or something. Okay, I think now it would work. Yeah, it worked. And now let's have a look at order underscore df. So it have got these 3 new entries, and these are exact same entry that we have just executed. So it have got this new order ID and then the new time. Like basically it is just the same time. So that is power of function calling. We can actually get the information from here, and then we have got it as in prompt, and then it itself gets these things in structured format so that we can execute this particular function and then it appends it. So anyone have any doubts?
So like in the project that we have got, so in that also we have to do this function calling only and automate the task.
Yeah, it will be you will have to do some task using function calling.
I mean, here this example is a little more complex, but that is by design. Okay, we wanted to show you how to do a complex call so that doing simple calls is easy. Actually, it's very easy to make simple function calls. This one is complicated by the fact that it has an array that we are wanting to get back out of the out of the prompt. So that's why it's a bit more complex. But if it was just simple properties like a string, a number, or something of that sort, then it's actually much easier to construct. It doesn't take as long. So that's why we decided to show you something that is a little more complex, so you can do the easier things.
So got it.
One thing, Jivraj. The last three entries, 1, 2, and 1. I was able to see one like till 1 and 2, and then after that, you passed the function over there, the above one,
Okay.
and like didn't get got this thing, JSON.loads, and
Okay, basically so if I just look for the type of this particular object, I think it would be a string. Okay, this is a string because it have these endings. So can you see this single quote over here, which indicates that it's a string? Even you can
okay.
type print the type of this particular object, and it would come out to be a string. Okay, but since it's a string, then we won't be able to fetch these individual parameters, right? Because it have to be a JSON. So
Okay.
in order to convert it to JSON, we'll use JSON.loads, which converts any string to a JSON.
Okay. And then that we are passing that as an argument for ordered items function, which you have explained down. And from there onwards, ordered items equal to arguments and inverted commas ordered items there. Code cell 67.
Okay. So see, we have this particular thing, right?
Hmm.
and then we have just loaded it as in JSON. So I will just show what this have got. So this have these things, right? So we can, so this is a dictionary kind of thing. So we can extract whatever is the value of this particular key. So that we can do using arguments and then the name of the key. It is same as extracting from a dictionary.
Okay, 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 okay. And
Givraj, what you can do is change the prompt so you can show how it dynamically can deal with various types of prompts as well.
Okay, Carlton, I will need 2 minutes. Okay, I will back in 2 minutes.
Okay, sure. Yes,
So
Sakshi.
could you share the link of this notebook?
We'll discuss and see. Okay. Normally we don't share notebooks, mainly because the resources that you have should be sufficient. Because the same thing will happen with like project as well. We'll actually build a working prototype of the project, but then students will just copy paste whatever they've got on there, right? You will not really be able to get to grips with it unless you try it out yourself. So that's why we usually, typically in every term in TDS, we have not provided these particular notebooks, the ones
Got
that
it.
you're working in session.
Okay, okay.
It means that we tend to remember them as well.
Carlton, if like uh, till the time he comes back, there were 3 new entries. So where we have put those entries so that we are able so that we are seeing those in the data frame. Like,
So those are the new ones that came because of the response that came from the prompt, right? The first two initially were when we just used our static object to put it into the data frame. The rest three came after we sent the prompt and got a prompt back.
okay, so I'm under the impression that we are appending that to the data frame which is there.
Yes,
So those 3 are the new things.
correct.
Or okay.
They have been added to the order table. Yes, Sakshi, you raised your hand.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, I want to ask, where did you get this URL, and where do we used this URL and how?
Okay, the URL is from, so if you go in module week 3, I can
Yes, sir.
quickly share. Uh, so if you go to week 3, this very first page, as soon as you hit large language model, you see this over here, use AI proxy. We have explained this in a previous session as well. I think it was Tuesday's session. And over there, it takes you to this page. And these URLs are from here because you have to use an AI proxy in order to use your open API key that Anand has provided. So if you look over here, these are the endpoints for this proxy. We have explained what a proxy is and why you need to use it
Yes.
in Tuesday's session. So this is where they are from. So this is the one that we are using at the moment, this post um, request. And then the key itself you can get from this link over here. And then you will be, once you sign in over here, you'll be able to get your own API key. So you can then run these requests to the OpenAI.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Vikas. Hello, yeah,
Hello.
Vikas, carry on.
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah, it's a bit soft, but you're audible.
Yeah, so actually my doubts were related to the collab notebook only.
Mhm.
I was I was not. I couldn't understand the UUID instance. Like, is UUID instance specific? Like when we run the program, so it will create a unique ID, but the next instance when we run it, it could create the same ID again. Like there are chances. Are there chances like that?
So it depends on how you. So UUID generally is supposed to give you unique outcomes each and every time, but it depends on how long you want the UUID to be. So if the UUID, if you're very particular about not having any clashes, and you know the range of the requests that you're going to get. So if you know that your requests are only going to be in the range of tens of thousands, then depending on that, you can increase the size of the UUID or decrease the size of the UUID. So if you increase the size, the possible of what you call collisions is very, very, very low. So
Okay,
that's
so it is available in the UUID documentation how to increase the size and reduce
yes,
one.
yeah, yeah. If you look it up, it is all available there. But that's typically what's used to create unique entries.
So can we integrate it with a voice model also, like where the customer can directly interact and with the model, and it will and decode the speech to text, speech to it would do speech to text, and then create all this stuff.
Yes,
Um,
definitely.
you have to so speech to text is possible, that's not a problem. The only difference will be what how you structure your request to the OpenAI.
Yeah, okay, okay. So their prompt engineering would come into effect, like retrieval augmented generation.
There's no prompt engineering involved here, really. I mean, it's we have instructed OpenAI exactly what we want. So in that sense, there is no prompt engineering involved here at all. The customer interacts naturally with the application. The application then sends the request to OpenAI, and then OpenAI gives us structured information back from the unstructured information that was sent to it. And then we are able to act on structured information because all programs work on structured information.
Okay, so if the customer does not,
Sorry?
yeah, so if the customer does not provide complete information, then the model will again ask the customer to provide the relevant information that are missing.
Yeah, so that
Okay, let
design
me.
depends on how you implement your stack, right? So if your application stack is designed to handle requests,
Carlton,
incomplete requests, yeah.
I think OpenAI would itself ask for the information. Got it? Have got these required parameters. So let's. If I just remove this, I think it would ask to send uh, delivery time over here.
Yeah,
Let me just try it out.
yeah. Your screen,
And
you'll have to start sharing again.
oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
No, no, it's because I had to show something, so that's why.
Okay. So is my screen visible?
Okay, fine. Sorry, I'm intervening.
Yeah. Vikas, so what I have done earlier, this was the prompt, right? From this particular prompt, I have just removed the date part of it. Okay. And now I will make the request again. This request doesn't have date, but we are telling OpenAI that we also need the date, and it is a required field, right? So it must get this date, but we are not sending date. So in that case, what would happen? Let us see. Response.json. Okay.
Okay.
And I think it would ask for date. No, it didn't ask for the date. Oh, okay. Uh,
That's
ASAP,
funny.
as soon as possible.
That is really good.
Okay. Let me put something over here.
Just assume that if no date is there, just do it
Okay.
ASAP.
Yeah,
If
so
okay,
I think,
Carlton, I think I will change the prompt and I will say if nothing is available, then you need to get some error.
yeah, but I think I think you should do that in the messages part, not in the function itself.
Okay, yeah, correct. That is system prompt, right?
Yeah, system prompt.
Hmm.
That's where you specify very clearly to it. You have to give it, yeah, you have to put role, system, and then specify exactly what is required and what you do not want it to do and all that sort of thing.
So okay. Okay. I think if there is no date, then please ask to provide date. Is this correct?
Or if there is no, if any parameter is missing, then
If
request for that parameter, missing parameter.
any parameter is missing, then
Also, Jivraj, I think you have to give the system a clear explanation of what its role is first, and then
you are in each that hmm,
takes orders.
takes orders. Okay. And if any parameter are missing, then request for that parameter. Is this enough?
This will be a bit more of trial and error until we get it right.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now let's check. Yes, it have asked for the that you need to provide the delivery time. And now if I just put time back, so this is where we had time. And now if I put time back, I think it won't throw any error. Let's try it again. Okay, where is the part where I was making request here?
Also, I think to make the prompt robust, you should write that do not, I forget what it was, but I've seen it in the video where Anand says you should not hallucinate or something like that. It tells don't deviate or something like that.
Okay, see, yeah, Carlton, what you are saying is correct. Now it have started generating something else. I can finalize your order and these things. So I think we need to
So one tablet which is mentioned over there, like if you'll go up in the prompt, like is it like have you specified that?
yeah.
Okay. Now it is clear. I was still thinking that we have only put laptop and smartphones now. Where this tablet is coming from?
Yeah. Oh, okay. It was part of
Okay,
prompt.
no. I like since it was from the right hand side. I was wondering like when we are giving two only, how come three is coming? Okay.
If all parameters are present, then just respond with JSON. I think this should work. Now it should not generate something like this. Can I finalize or all these things? It's taking a lot of time to run this query. Okay, finally. Yeah, now it have worked.
Hooray!
Great.
So yeah, so this now is a much more robust call that is being made. So you've given the system a specific role, and then the function calling works as intended.
And my other doubt was how can we package, like we are doing it on a collab notebook, so can we package it into a full-fledged application? Like how to make, I know we can package it, but how to package it into a full-fledged application?
Yeah, that's something we will demonstrate as well. Because what we're going to do is we're going to make one more function so that you can see it's not just for one function. Okay, it will have to choose from a menu of functions. So we'll just create one extra function, a simple one. And then once that is done, we will put it all together and actually make it into a Docker image, push it to Docker, and then we will run the application just as intended.
Oh, great. Oh, great. Wow.
Okay. So
One more
any
question.
suggestions? Which function should we create? Now we have a function to order. So what other thing that you want to uh, automate?
Like modification of order or placing a return request, something like that.
Sure. So let's go with order modification then.
Yeah, that would be great.
Sure. Okay. So for that, what I will have to do, I will have to write a function first. Okay, let's first write the Python function similar to this particular function.
Uh, Jivansh,
Okay. Yes, Vikash.
Jivraj, sorry, Jivraj, there is one more doubt before you proceed further. I would like to ask.
Yeah.
Uh, you imported user data from Google Colab, I guess,
Yeah. Yeah.
earlier.
Yeah.
The-
Yeah. Yeah.
So can you explain it a little bit further? I couldn't get it.
Okay. So what I am doing over here, so this is something. So what this is, so if I go to, oh, actually you asked for speech to text, right? So here I just search for a speech to text converter model, and then on Hugging Face, this is a model that is there, and it actually uses a pre-trained model from Facebook, and it have some processor that are from Facebook, and then this is something that you can use. I mean, I haven't tried, I just searched, so you would have to try it out.
Yeah, that
Also,
we can
yeah,
do.
also OpenAI has its Whisper model. So if you're using tokens, you can use the Whisper model. You can send audio to the Whisper model of OpenAI.
Yes. Yeah.
WHIS.
WH. Okay. So this is the one. So all that, I think all this description would be here. Can we use Carlton? Can we use it in function? I mean API through
Yeah,
APIs.
yeah. Through API, you can use Whisper.
Okay. 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 So this is something that can be used. Now what I will do, I have forgot what I was going to do. Okay, so if I just go to AI proxy.anand, so if I log in over here, what it will give us, it will give the AI token that I can use to make request to Anand sir's proxy, right? So that particular token I'm storing over here, and then I'm naming that token as AI proxy underscore token, and this is kept as in secret, so only I will have visibility to view it. If I just click on this button, then only I will be able to view it. So before sharing my screen, I have pasted this token here, and I have named this particular token as AI proxy token, and then I have kept it as in secret. So benefit of this thing is, let us say if I share this particular notebook with you, then
Okay.
you won't have visibility to this token.
AI proxy token. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like git ignore or some sort of like that.
It's more like an environment variable. It's stored in the environment. And then to get access to it from the environment, he uses the google.colab import user data.
Okay.
Okay, so now let's create one more function. Let's first define the Pythonic way of it. I will
One more
just
thing, Vikas, that import from Colab, that's
Yes.
only for this Colab notebook. Okay, that's not for if you're doing it in VS Code, you would not use this at all. Or if you're using it as a packaged application inside Docker, where you're going to run it as a Python script, you won't use this at all. This is only because this is an environment variable stored in Google Colab.
Yeah, that I got. Like
Okay.
it's totally collab specific.
Yes.
Like for in case of VS Code, I think we'll use git ignore or some sort of folder that cannot be accessed if we when we share our application packages.
Yeah, it won't be git ignore. It will be .env, something like that. It would be.
Okay, .env would also work. Okay, fine.
Yeah, because git ignore is basically a file that tells Git not to track these files. It's a list that it tells not to track. So in git ignore, you would store the names of files that you don't want uploaded to GitHub.
So you'll definitely have put .env and all those
Yeah,
files in GitHub.
correct, correct.
Okay, fine. Got it.
okay. Let's write the other function that is to update a order. So let me define a function. Let's call it update underscore order. And now it needs to update order. That means I need to get the information about that order. So let's call it order ID that I can use to actually get the information about which order needs to be updated. And now, what all I need for updating your order? I also need the updated items. Let us say someone have updated the items of the order, and then I would need the delivery time. Someone can update delivery time, yes. And okay, they can even update at yeah, they can even update address. So now over here, what I'm doing, I have just got the access to the global variable order underscore df. And now what I want to do, I want to filter out all those orders whose ID matches with this particular ID. So let me use that order df dot loc, and then order df of I think that suggestion was correct. And what is
These suggestions will just keep getting better.
yeah, this is getting better because it have information about all these cells, right? So it is taking all, it is making use of all these upper cells to actually generate this particular cell. So it even knows which all variables I'm using.
So the context is improving.
Yes. I'm just making sure that this is correct function. Let me just print it out. I don't know why it have got this items over here.
It will get you only the column titled items.
Okay,
So
so
if you need to have all the columns, you have to remove that.
okay. It will get only items. Okay, then let us remove that. Oh, I got it. How this df.log works. Actually, over here we provide the row index and then we put a comma and then we provide some condition on column, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So this is filtered underscore. Maybe this order. Okay, for now I think I will do this much. I'm not sure if this is correct. Okay, this must be correct. Okay, let's just print it.
Jivraj, are you trying to filter on order ID? Is it?
Yeah, I'm
You
trying to
don't.
filter on order
You
ID.
don't need the lock.
I don't need the lock.
No.
Okay. I think this would work.
Yes.
Okay. Along with order ID, can I also put one more constraint for customer ID? Actually, I want to put a constraint for customer ID as well. I think. Oh, okay. I think this is correct way. It's been a long time. Let me check if this works. Okay, this is wrong.
Jivraj, are you trying to? No, it won't work
No.
this way.
Single and.
No, you have to put ampersand.
Worked or something.
Ampersand. This one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
ampersand.
Yes.
This
Just a
would work,
single one.
Okay.
right?
Okay. Let me execute this particular function.
Even and worked.
Even
Writing A and D and worked.
and worked, right? Okay. Let's use and then. And now I will just call this function and it should have this as an. Okay, let me just copy paste the order ID. This one. And then customer ID must be 1, and these things I think I will need to pass NONE. E and NONE. Okay. On default.
Okay, actually, you have to, put these whenever you are putting these none equal to for default values, you have to put them at the back, the very back. So put customer ID before all these.
Okay, thanks. I got it. I think I will have to put it there, right?
Yeah. So
Now
this is the
this.
precedence of uh, parameters that you have to follow. What is the
Hmm,
error? Truth value is ambiguous. Okay. Uh,
truth value is ambiguous. Use AMT E dot boolean E dot all. Okay, I don't know anything about this error, so I will ask GPT what is wrong over here, and I will feed this error. The error you are encountering occurs because you are using AND operator, which cannot be used in Python with pandas
yeah.
series
So I
only.
guess you have to use ampersand.
Oh,
Ampersand would be
So I
correct.
guess that's the difference
okay.
between an and. This is, yeah.
Ah, yeah, now it worked.
Also, rather than printing it, we can simply return it in the function, right?
Yes. Now it must be a data frame, I think. Yes.
Even I forgot that why and wasn't working and ampersand should. Okay, that's the reason.
Okay. And okay. And now what should be the logic of update order function? Because we have got multiple orders. Hmm.
You would use the UUID, right? What you want to specifically update.
No, UUID
It's
was
on the same,
to,
right, right. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Order
Now I
ID
have
will be there.
You'd have to do a search on the product itself that needs to be updated.
on this item, right?
Hmm. And if it's an
Uh,
address for that order, then all three. So it's actually a little more complex in logic wise than you would expect.
Jivraj, can you just tell me what are you trying to achieve? Maybe I will be able to help you.
actually, now I am not able to think of the logic to for this update order function. Actually, how exactly I will update quantity of this laptop and these things. I think I should
Okay.
have stored them in
You
two
can do one
different
thing.
columns.
We can update these values using lock.
Before that, we'll have to actually see this updated items. It will have, let us say, I just want to update the price quantity for laptop, right?
Mm-hmm.
In that case, what we will just have laptop. So I first have to search that it's a laptop. So over here, I just want to search this first column. If this updated items have name as in laptop, right? So I want to
Okay.
just select this one, and then I want to update this quantity over here.
Okay, let's do one
So
thing. This one is mostly a logic exercise, right? But it's not serving the purpose of teaching function calling. So what we'll do is instead of update order, we'll do just a delete order for today. So at least we can demonstrate two separate function calls. A delete order
Oh,
should be straightforward.
oh, that is correct. Okay, let me just remove this. No, I don't have to remove it. I can just
Yeah,
make it.
this we can keep it for some other time. Just we will
Okay. Sure,
do
sure,
a
sure.
simple order for now.
So define delete underscore order, and should it be delete order or cancel order? Doesn't matter. Okay. Order ID and customer ID. Okay. And then I think this would work. I think.
Yes. So we would just have to delete those specific rows. We have to obtain the indexes, and then once we obtain the index, we delete those rows.
And return. What should I return?
We
None.
return a message, but otherwise, not nothing is required. But maybe a message that the order has been cancelled or something.
So first of all, if you take this minus l star.txt, it will list all the current directories. And this star operator, this first arrow will do, it will redirect the output to 1.txt. If 1.txt
Okay.
is not
So now I will have to define the definition of this particular function over here, right? And earlier I was calling it order function, but now it have got multiple functions. So I will just call it functions, and I will pass this over here. Okay, and now I will define the other function here only, and this must be a type function, and then function name should be delete order, and I think this must also end here. And now what are the other things that we need to define? We need to define the description. Customer would delete an order as a prompt, and you need to extract the JSON schema from that. Actually, while deleting something, we don't need to extract anything because we are just using order ID and customer ID.
Yeah, but we still need to get the function name itself.
Yes.
It's more like if the customer says, "Yeah, please just cancel my last order," so you delete the order or something.
Yeah. So what should be the description then? Customer would like to cancel the order. I think this much is enough, right?
Yeah,
And
that will work.
this parameter, we don't need to pass anything, right? So I will just miss this part is not required till here. And yeah, that's it. I think this
We
should
could
work.
use an
No,
order.
you need the order ID as well.
Yeah, because
Order
how
ID.
it's really identify.
Because
Oh, yes, correct. So I will need to have prop parameters. And this parameter should be of type object, and then it must be properties. Okay, and this can be deleted. And this must be integer. I think, is it int or integer?
I
Let
think
me
it is the whole word integer. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm forgetting something over here. So this is correct. And then
Required.
parameter, and then yeah, this is also over here. And yeah, I also need to pass required. That will go after parameter definition. And this is requird. Okay, yeah. And this looks a bit messy, so I will just keep it here. This is correct position, and I think this can be deleted. Yeah. Okay. And let's execute this.
You need additional
Okay.
additional
Yes.
success.
Okay. So now in prompt, I will have to tell which order it needs to cancel, right? So I will get the order ID. So let's get the order ID from here. And Mm, okay, just remove these 4 lines. I want
Jivraj,
to
just make a new
cancel.
prompt variable.
Oh, yes, correct. Q is equal to. I want to cancel my order for order ID this, and now let's execute, and I have already done that. So right over here we have two different functions, order, and then the second function is delete order. So these are two different functions. So now I will pass both of these functions to LLM, and what LLM would do, it will actually understand which function needs to be executed by this prompt only. So here we are telling that it needs to cancel this particular order. So for canceling, it would need to say that this is the function that you want to execute and this is the parameter that you want to use. Okay, so let's see if it gets that. I hope that. Yeah, it have. Oh, order ID is 0. Why? Oh, okay, I got it. That is because our order ID is not an integer, but we have defined it as an integer in the
Order ID has to be like a string. Yeah.
yeah. So now let's rerun.
But I hope you've noticed something, even though it didn't get the order ID right that time. I hope you've noticed something very powerful that has just happened. There was a choice of functions, and just by looking at the prompt, the OpenAI was able to decide which functions to actually run, and it gives you your application back that result. So if you had 100 different functions that your application does, just by speaking to the application or giving it natural language, it's able to choose the appropriate function to run. So I hope you recognize the immense power that is there behind this.
But sir, there are chances of it hallucinating also, like choosing the wrong function also. There are.
That depends on how well you've structured your
Prompted.
functions. Yeah, your
Now,
functions should be robust, and obviously testing has to be done. But that's where the way you handle errors and deal with that looping, how you deal with that looping, will make it more robust. And in project, we will actually show you how to create these feedback loops as they are.
And
Um,
this is why people need prompt engineers.
yeah. I mean, it's not such a significant thing. The main thing is you have to understand the mechanism. And apart from prompt engineering, we actually will show you how to create a complete loop where if something doesn't work out as planned, how it can recover gracefully from it and actually continue and correct itself. So that also is possible to do. And we'll be
So,
able to demonstrate that for project.
so basically, prompt engineering is a science in itself. Is it some sort of like that?
It's, I wouldn't call it a science. It's more like an understanding how the system works. And when you have an understanding of how the system works, then you're able to write better prompts that give you the expected results. See, in week 3 module, see, most of you have been focused on GAs, right? But really, what you should do is go through the week 3 module content. There is some very, very good material in there, which will show you exactly these aspects of it. So it will talk, there is a specific video on prompt engineering. There's a specific video on context and all these sorts of things that involve using LLMs. So I strongly recommend you go through them because the more you understand this system, the better you'll be at engineering. And you can engineer them to be very, very robust.
Yeah, so
So
the course content is heavily loaded with information. I can see that. Lots of information. It's like 1 week is not enough for covering 1 week.
okay. Yeah. I appreciate that it is a bit heavy, but nevertheless, it is available. So, I mean, spacing is something we will have to like think about as we develop the course because this course constantly is evolving. Each term it is changing. You see. So I agree that we have gone a bit heavy this time in content in the first few weeks. So we might have to change the pacing of it slightly for next term.
No, but sir, it's healthy. I think first 3 weeks, and we are done with generative AI. Then we can just work on building database and other stuff. Other
Yeah. I mean, that was the goal anyway. The goal was to get you to this stage quickly. So then you can build the whole pipeline and understand how it all works together. So that's, you're right about that.
Coming to assignments, it's assignment director.
Yeah. So now let's create. Let's.
First thing you wasted my time.
Okay, let's do this. I think this would get what is required. I think this order ID is something that needs to be fetched from the order. Yeah. This needs to be fetched, and customer ID is always one. I think this would work. Let's try this out. Okay, what happened? Expected semicolon. Semicolon is here. Elif. Oh, that is elif, not else if. Now it should have deleted that particular entry. And what was the order ID that we passed? Okay, we passed FT. Okay, FT. Where is that? So these two entries should get deleted. Oh, they did not delete.
Did you pass the function to be called? You might not have done that.
Oh, okay, yeah, got it. Okay, I think I haven't done that. And then these arguments also I need to do. And now I think this should work. Yes.
Okay, I think it's a bit late to do the API endpoint and the Docker image. So we'll save that for next session, I think.
No. I get this now. Just minus the star from the current directory find it. Or you can do like this.
Yeah, maybe we can ask students to do it first, and then in the next session we can do.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, guys, that's it from us today. If you have any more doubts or anything, can ask now, or we'll end this session for today. Okay, thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you.
We'll have this session on the playlist for tomorrow morning. Okay?
thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
Thank you, Jivraj.
Thank
Thank you for your time.
It's a very good session, interesting session. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The session was very helpful.
By the way, does anyone have any doubts related to GA2 or GA3? Then we can take those doubts. Can I stop recording, Carlton?
Just keep the recording on for the doubts, and then you can stop after you've taken the doubts, just in case someone has, something
sure.
that they want to refer to.
Hmm.
Okay, I'll be leaving the call. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Is there a good night?
Good night, sir. Good night.
Is there a session tomorrow?
Yeah, there will be a session tomorrow.
It's not showing the calendar.
Sir, my doubt.
Is it?
No, it's not showing the calendar.
It's present in the calendar. It's on. It's at 10 a.m. this
Okay,
time.
okay. It's in the
10
morning.
a.m. to 12 p.m.
I was seeing in the evening. It was not. Okay, it's in the morning.
Yes, Shakshi.
Yes, sir.
Sir, actually, my doubt was discussed earlier, but I haven't got the solution. As Saransh also said, the doubt will take lot of time. I've shared the
Sharansh,
file with the Saransh, but
Yeah.
would you
he
like to
said
take
he
it
will.
now?
The doubt. Well, the thing is, let me share my screen once.
Okay.
Okay. The thing is that even I am struggling to, debug the error. You can see that I was just working with this file. Okay, so the problem, I guess the problem lies with this code. Okay, so it's not able to identify. So I changed the code as well. So I was working with ChatGPT and figuring out what stuff has gone wrong, but apparently it's not working as intended, and the code that you shared me wasn't working as well, and this code which ChatGPT gave me isn't working as well. So I will just show you the application once.
Sakshi, have you posted the code on Discourse?
No, sir. Actually, I didn't post the code on the discourse, but I have raised the problem that I have facing some problem in this virtual question, and as well as in the ninth question. That was the only thing I'm struggling in the ninth question with is how to make class as a variable name. I've
Okay,
posted
okay,
that
okay.
question on the discourse.
So that thing, have you posted that on Discourse?
Yes, sir. I've posted a problem with question number 6 and question number 9 both on the same
Perfect.
post.
And you have tagged me, because only then I will perhaps be able to.
No, sir. I didn't tag you, but I will raise again the question and tagged you
Okay.
in a
Okay.
yes today.
So the only thing, the thing with the ninth question is that I actually discussed it in the last session. So either you can just check the recording once. I guess it would
Yes,
be
sir. I
available in.
I actually create that alias equals to class, but
Mhm.
I didn't get that if in the starting do I have to write class name as class or class name as it is? Actually, I didn't get that. That's why.
Class name as class.
Okay.
You're talking about the variable, right?
Yes, sir.
The variable can be anything. You can write as it class name or anything. You can
So it will
write it
act
class up.
as if we define alias as is equals to class, then it will act as a class variable.
It will actually act as an alias. Okay, so let's say this is my this is something. Okay, this is my code, then API. So this is my endpoint for the API. Now when in our code, the variable has been defined as class name. Okay, so if you don't use an alias, then you have to give this particular parameter name as class name. But when you are using the alias, you have to you can use that alias for calling out this parameter. Okay, so you can use this class name using an alias. Okay,
I've
is that
done this,
understood?
sir, but when I run this URL,
Mhm.
it was giving me the wrong answer. And when I put class underscore class and underscore, which was the name of the variable, then only it giving me the correct answer. It was not working as class.
Can you
That's
show me
why.
your screen once?
Actually, sir, I'm right now. I'm not at home. I'm somewhere else.
Okay,
I
okay.
did. I don't join the meeting with my laptop. I'm on my tab.
All right, that's not a problem. We can do one thing. You can, when you are raising again that discourse post, you can just paste that screenshot of your code once. Okay, then I will be able to debug it.
Don't
So
paste screenshot of the code. I put the code in the
Code block.
code block on Discourse. Otherwise, then
Okay.
it's difficult for us to parse it.
Yeah, then we'll be able to copy it.
Yeah. I mean, we have solved this actually. Someone else had the same doubt, isn't it, Jivraj? I think very early on uh, in this course, someone had raised this very same question, and they ran into the same problem where they were using class underscore. There is actually a way to fix that issue, which is I don't remember the where we have stored the code, but there is we have solved this. It is not that it's not solvable, but it has
Okay.
to do with that parameter name itself.
Actually, even I solved this particular thing. So
Let-
uh, yeah, this is the class name. So this is the particular code which I used, and I was able to get through with it.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
So
I think this is correct syntax.
yeah. This is the
Alias.
correct
yeah,
syntax. Yeah.
so this is the variable name. This is the class name variable that you are going to use instead of class. Okay, and then you have to give the alias. So just check it once that are you following this exact same syntax or not, because the only way that you aren't able to access this, it's only working with those underscore underscore class underscore underscore, then there should be some error in this particular part of the code. Okay.
Okay, sir. I will check first,
Yeah,
and
you can
then
just
if
take a
I
screenshot once. Just take a screenshot from your mobile,
yes,
and
sir.
yeah, just check it once. Okay. If
Yes,
the
sir. Sure,
problem
sir.
still persists, then you can raise it in the discourse post.
Yes, sir. I will raise it on Discourse if I face some problem.
Yeah. Okay. So now talking about your another question, uh, this one. So the problem which I'm facing is that okay, here it is. The problem is that uh, the page is opening, because when I was working with it earlier using the code that you gave me, the page was not working. It was just whenever I opened it, it was downloading the entire code file. Okay. So what I did was I made few changes, which was the name of this particular version.json was actually it was VERSEL SEL. So Cursor was not actually able to identify your bit instructions. Okay, so it was something like this. It was this. So that's why Cursor was not able to identify that you have some build instructions given to it. Okay, so I just renamed it once, and yeah. So this is one thing that you need to change, that you need to check. Another thing is that so now it's working. Like if I go to the API endpoint, it's still showing me this server crash error. Okay, I even try to debug it using console and networks, but nothing is working at the moment.
No, I
But I
mean, Saransh, for that you can
yeah,
just go to the Vercel
But still,
logs and
I
see
checked
what
that
the.
as well, but let me just show you. So this is giving me this, so it's not even able to fetch the fav icon, and I just opened it and it's giving me something like it has changed now. No such file directory. Okay. So it was
So
giving me
it's
something
not. So
like
it's yeah. So it's not able to fetch that file. That file is not
yeah, earlier it was giving
available.
me some other error. It was giving me some HTML base HTML kind of, there is a problem with that library, something like that.
Okay.
But now it
But yeah,
has
now it is. It
changed.
can't find the JSON file.
Yeah, I'll debug it more thoroughly. Okay, and I won't be available tomorrow. Uh, Tomorrow morning from 8 to 2. So I will debug this and I will get back to you by tomorrow evening. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Sharansh, instead of using this os.path, if you just use the relative path with that particular file, I think that might work. Just try
Yeah.
it once.
Yeah. So
Don't use
No,
os
no, don't.
module.
Yeah, don't use
yeah,
words.
yeah.
Sir, the file should be in API folder or in the Vercel Python API folder.
In the
What's the
verse of
Python
Python,
API? Yeah, it is in the
not in the
correct
API.
location. Just
Okay.
copy the relative path of the file. Yeah, I think this is correct. Is it? Okay.
Let's
Yeah, now
try
it
it
is.
once. I'll run versal prod. Actually, this is the code which ChatGPT gave me, and I also tried other things as well, but again, it was not working. Let's try this. Hopefully, it works. Okay, so let's check this once again. Let's check this once again. Okay, so it's giving me this error. Just a second. Just a second.
Is the URL correct on top?
Yeah, I'm back.
Is the URL correct?
The URL, yeah, I will just check it once. It should be present right here. We'll inspect it. Open. It's again giving me that error. API. Let's try putting some parsing
No,
some
no.
parameters.
There's a. It's not fetching anything, right? So you have to check the
Yeah,
log and see what the actual error is.
no such file directory. Okay, so it's not able to find it. The thing is that Versal is actually accessing this API folder, and it's taking it's going to put everything in context related to this API folder. So that's
Okay.
why we have to do it this
Why
way.
don't you just stick it in directly?
Yeah. Just once again. It's building. Okay. Let's open it once again. And all right. Again, it's showing the exact same error. Go to API again. So again, I will go to the logs. Let's check it once. I guess this time I will find that error which I was talking about. Oh yeah. Okay, okay, okay. So missing variable handler or app in file. Okay, so this is something related to the code. Aeronautics. Okay. Handler. Okay, it's or app in file. This is missing variable. Okay. Yeah. So like it's a bunch of uh, there are a buttload of errors that's prompting up over here.
Sharanj,
Yeah.
can you go back to code?
I've already
Yeah.
created one. So once I've taken up,
Just scroll slowly. Okay.
whatever I get there, that goes.
We are even performing cores. So let's give that error.
I did not do it this much complex. So what I have done, I have created a class handler,
Mm-hmm.
and that is what we call extending base HTTP request handler. and then within that I have get function and post function. Only get function.
Yeah, I did the
This
Ah,
same
this
was
as
this is
well.
the
Shruti's
correct way.
code.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think this
This
is
is
Shruti's code, and which had the actual error. I will just paste it once. Save. Let's run this. It has done it. Right. Let's try it once again. Okay. It is not giving that server crash error. Let's try running some parameters. And I will copy it from here. Let's see.
Is it name or class?
No, it's name over here. So the class one is in the ninth question.
Different
That's the
question.
ninth
Okay,
question.
okay, okay, okay.
So it's giving us null. So okay, I guess this code is working now somehow.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, that's the error which I've got, that it's
Yeah,
showing null in the response.
that's the error, and that's something related to the logic that you are using right over here that we have to check. So I guess that while I was debugging this, I changed few things, and then I pasted the code from ChatGPT, and then I didn't try that particular thing with this code. So because
I think the problem is with parsing the parameters. Maybe try printing query params and these things.
what I will do is I will run it on local machine first, rather than again and again
yeah, because
putting it through
we know
production.
that it is runs on the server now, so it's okay. You can just
Yeah.
try it on the local machine.
Installing. Okay. Response data when okay. Associated with the value. Okay. Let's try running this once, and then we'll check. Okay, it's giving us null, and it's able to fetch this. It's able to fetch the query parameter out of that, and also it's able to get the name, and then okay, so that's a default value right there. Okay, let's do one thing. I will do it again because that's a dictionary, so it should work like this as well. Do a name. Okay, so that's okay, that's a list. If I pass, okay, so let's just try with this one for name in query parameter and name. So I will do this like this now. Okay, response and data response data marks. Okay, so we have this all right, or otherwise we can just simply make a list as well. All right, that would make it much more easier rather than this. Okay, so inside this marks we are going to append this exact same thing, and it's going to be giving us none. And what is this marks data? Okay, so this is the marks data. If name in marks data, so this marks data, some, yeah, okay, so this is right over here. All right, so we are passing through the entire JSON object, and then we are okay.
Okay, wait a second. How are we trying to search for this name? Can you show the structure of JSON? Okay. How it is searching
So
for
we
this
have to loop
particular
it.
name? Yeah,
It's
Actually,
a
we are
it's a list.
we are looping through this entire list.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I didn't understand this appending part, marks underscore data of
Yeah,
name.
there is some
What
bit fishy
exactly
right
is
here.
that?
Okay, so we are trying to find it. So we have to run a double for loop, nested for loop. Yeah, absolutely this. Okay, mark in name is equal to all right, and then it will break. No, we don't want it to break. Oh yeah, we can break it. Absolutely. We don't need this one, and then it should send the response. And right here, we'll create a new one, and then it should be what's the syntax that we need? Uh, can Jivraj, can you tell me the syntax that we
Or
have to?
just okay, let me open GA3 page.
Yeah, please just check this once. I guess it was marks and
You're doing question 9, right?
no, it's question 6, I guess.
Okay. Oh, that is
It,
GA2.
it is from GA2.
Mhm.
I guess
Mm,
this is the structure that we want.
so, so we want marks and then so we want a JSON that have marks as a
Mhm.
key and then a list as a value of that key.
All right. Do we want this to be enclosed in a list as well?
No, 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 no.
All right. So that should work. Let's run it. Okay, it's taking its sweet time. So that's the problem with running it. All right, so it's working. That's good. So let's try it using multiple names. It's not here. Yeah, I'll run this big name, and it should be working perfectly fine because it was returning us array. Let's run it. All right, so it's working perfectly fine. So
so basically, it's a logic issue in the code.
yeah, it was a logic issue, and perhaps while debugging, I just went over this particular piece of code and pasted something else and
Yeah,
changed few
the
things. So
handler works fine, just that the
yeah,
logic was not correct.
yeah,
Can you scroll down a little bit? A
yeah. So
little.
the entire operations that we did is right over here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, sir. And then last, sir, also we changed some marks equal in response.
in response. Oh yeah, I just made this.
Yes, sir.
Because that's the
Okay.
output that's required.
Yeah, I just
One,
simplified
one,
it.
yeah. One thing I would recommend, Sakshi, is when ROE comes around, and even for project as well, just be familiar with how to parse through dictionary and array structures. Okay, because if you look at open API calls that we send and even the responses we get back, you have to be able to parse through them in a systematic way. So just be familiar with that. If you know how to parse through, then you'll be able to handle these sorts of questions. And ROE will 100%, I will tell you now only, will have questions that make you parse through nested dictionaries.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So that's where the problem is actually.
Also, parsing through dictionaries is much more easier than parsing through lists, because then you have to run a entire for loop. You have to give
Yeah.
an if statement as well. So parsing through dictionaries, it's like it's a piece of cake. Okay, simply enter the dictionary's name. So this is the dictionary actually. This query parameter is a dictionary we are also printing right over here. Let me just show you. Okay, so we are actually printing the name. So this is a dictionary, and it's getting the key value of name. So this is just like basic Python. Okay, so you should know this, and obviously it was ROE needs this. You should have this knowledge, right? So this problem has been solved. As Yeah.
Sir, one more thing. What will be the duration for ROE? Means what will be the time period given for the ROE?
That varies from term to term. So some terms it is as short as 45 minutes. Other terms it has been as long as 1.5 hours.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
At my
Typically,
time,
the most important thing to learn about ROE is you will not have enough time. So it doesn't matter if it is 45 minutes or an hour and a half. Okay, you will almost certainly have more questions than you can fully answer in that time frame. So you'll have to be very quick in doing basic iterations through these sorts of structures.
also during my ROE, it was a 45-minute ROE. And I will give you some tips that whenever you solve a question, always save it. Okay, always submit the answer. So you can, it's just like simple uh, GA. So you can just simply save your answers whenever you're done with it. Okay. So
One thing,
always save it,
Saransh,
always submit it.
yeah, Saransh,
Yeah.
one thing I want to there's one difference this time. We will be auto saving students' answers. We'll be having that
Mhm.
incorporated into, so that won't be an issue this time.
All right. So because at when I was doing ROE, so it was a big issue because people were
Yeah,
expecting that, yeah, it was
yeah,
marked that it will be ending at 8, I guess it was 6 p.m. Something like that. So it would be ending in 1 hour, but it actually ended at exactly 45 minutes. So luckily I saved it few minutes before that, and I just passed that. And so
yeah.
people who
I
weren't
mean,
able
we
to
we
save,
took all those feedback and improved it. So this
yeah,
time's
we,
RO will have auto save feature.
yeah, that's really good. Okay,
And sir,
so
what will be the passing percentage for ROE? Means
There is no pass percentage. It's just whatever you get. There is no pass criteria for ROE.
okay, sir.
also
Okay,
one
sir.
more thing, whenever let's say you have completed 4 questions, but let's say the entire ROE contains 8 questions and you have successfully completed 4 questions, but the time is taking out. Okay, so it's just going to end in, let's say, 30 seconds. So I would recommend you simply randomly select options. Okay, randomly select the multiple choice questions if they are there. Okay, and then save it, because let's say if your luck is good, then you will be able to score more, right?
No, sir, my luck is very bad. But thank you for the suggestion.
Yeah, so actually this suggestion, yeah. Also, Sakshi, now that your problem has been solved, both of your problems have been solved, but I will still recommend you to post it on discourse, because then we will be able to answer it over there, and then multiple people will be able to, take benefit from our answers.
Yeah, yes, sir. Sure, sir. I will post on discourse.
Yeah,
The
both
problem
questions. Do it for both
for
questions.
the ninth question, sir. For the class variable name.
Hmm.
For that will I will definitely post on the discourse.
Yeah,
And
do it for both.
should
For
I
this one as
enter
well, and
code
for, yeah.
also?
Can you please repeat?
Sir, should I enter the code also for the for that class variable file?
Yeah, what you can do, Sakshi, is since you know the solution, you can post the issue you had first and also post the solution as well. So that way, you've helped your fellow students, to know that you had this problem and this is what the solution you came up with. So that would be good.
Sure, sir. So do I have to post this question as well, sir? For the mm,
This one was you had a logic error in this one, right? Because the code we just checked, it actually works. The
y-
only issue that we were facing was the file access. So I don't know in your original code, I don't have your original code, but check the file path is correct. And the logic part was the only part that was not working correctly for you, right? So
yes,
in
sir.
that situation, it wouldn't be necessary because logic, we normally expect students to be able to work that out on their own. And the file path error, you could mention about the file path error that this is where the file needs to be located, and then it will work correctly. So, but logic is not necessary because that is something every student should actually be able to work out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Any more questions?
No, sir. And thank you very much, sir, for the solving the problems which I had.
Yeah. Also, there was one more error. So you actually named this file BERSEL. So that's an error. So it won't be able to recognize what all build instructions you have given to it. Okay. So make
Yes,
sure
sir.
that
I will
whenever you are
remove it.
using it, you should have this particular icon of Vercel.
Okay, sir. I will remember it, sir.
Okay. So, all right, guys. If we have no further questions, we can close this meeting. It's already been 3 hours.
Thanks, Jivraj, Saransh, and thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thank you, sir. Bye. Good
Good
night.
night. Mhm.